Good morning, folks. Give me just a minute or two. For those of you that are in the virtual waiting room right now, as you can see, my graphic is blank, so I just need a minute or two here. We're going to get that started, and we'll be off. And you might notice a new face behind me, too. We'll talk more about that here in a second, too. Okay, I think we have a picture. Oh, that's exciting. That is exciting. It's a little off center, but you know what? We have a picture, and that's all that matters. Well, now I've got an eraser. We don't need that. That's going to be C3 if you can grab that for me. Thank you. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to beg for your forgiveness so I can have one more minute because now I have to start the Facebook Live. Hi. Oh, you are just fine. You're fine. You are fine, good sir. Should be both the station and my page, yeah. It'll be on both. Should be on both. For those of you that are on the YouTube, the chat should be enabled. So if you can let me know in the comments section how the audio is while I get the Facebook side of the stream set up, that would be awesome. Hopefully I turned the chat on. I'm pretty sure I turned the chat on.
Yeah, I can send something right now.
Okay, good. Because remember last time I failed to do the checkbox.
Oh, that's right.
And I didn't have the chat on, and I was asking people to chat, and they couldn't. Because I didn't turn it on.
Whoops.
It's helpful when the chat option is enabled. Yes. Goodness gracious. Oh, there we go. GMAA says they can hear. Paul says sounds good. Awesome. Okay. Usually I have this all set up in advance, but this computer decided it needed to do some Windows updates, so we had to hang tight for a second.
It wasn't awake yet.
You. It is, yeah. I almost put Thursday. It's Tuesday, Andrew. It is Tuesday. It is not Thursday. I know. I agree. Okay, it's cross-posting. I have to copy this little key. And then we can go. Oh, that's funny. That sound's playing through the... Did you hear it?
No, that's the impact dome.
Yes. Okay, it's connecting to the video. There it is. We can go live. Okay, we're going to get started. So for everybody that was waiting on the YouTube channel, thank you so much. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We appreciate you joining us for the live stream today. Figured we might as well hop on here and talk about the big threat we have for this afternoon. Of course, you notice one familiar face, Allison Mills, our weather intern, but we have a brand new face.
Howdy, y'all.
And this is Peter Warner, our new weekend weather anchor. Yes, we're going to have you on air in no time. He is practically ready. I mean, Probably could just throw them on right now. We won't put you through the wolves, right? He's like, I am so ready to go. So ready to go. So now that we got the introductions, we'll talk more about Peter, of course, when the time gets a little bit closer and he can, tell you where he's from and all that good stuff. Yes, you've got a story to tell there. So that day is coming, but we want to get you prepared for what's coming in this afternoon. Oh, hey, look at that. I got it centered. For severe weather-wise, because we've kind of had an escalation, and now move back. I'm leaving it alone. We're going to leave it there. Gosh. So we've had an escalation in the severe weather threat today, and that is we bumped up some areas, especially if you're south and west of the Quad Cities, to a 3 out of 5 now. The last 2 days, it's only been a 2 out of 5, but now it's a 3 out of 5. And the time window for this is still very large. We thought that we'd be able to kind of trim this down a little bit, but we're still having a lot of disagreement in terms of what's going to go down as we go into this afternoon. So I'm going to give you my gut feeling. I just talked to Chief Meteorologist James here on the phone, maybe not more than 10 minutes ago, to kind of get his gut feeling and what he's thinking. Plus, of course, we have 2 more experts behind us. So with all this expertise, we're going to be able to figure this out one way or another as we go through today. But there's your timing. It's 2 to 10. I know it's a big window, but again, we're talking about different disturbances coming in at different times, so it's going to be a pretty sizable window. Of course, we're talking about severe storms. That's why we're here today on the live stream. And the StormTrack8 app is really a good resource to have because there's a big old fair going on this right now.
Yep.
The Mississippi Valley Fair, yeah. Lots of outdoor stuff. You don't want to be caught outside without warning when these storms come in because they're going to be quite impactful, hence our weather impact alert day that we have for today. So one of the things we're going to be watching, of course, do we get the sunshine for that storm energy to build in? I mean, you look at our Bridgepoint camera, to me, I think the sun's out.
Yes.
It's pretty bright out there.
Yeah, especially on the Iowa side of the river there in Bettendorf, it looks fairly sunny. So we've got some sunshine. Here's why things are complicated. So this is Doppler radar. There's the morning line of storms that we had earlier that had warnings down near Burlington, Wapello. That's moved on. It's in downstate Illinois. There's a brand new complex of storms that has just formed to the northwest of Des Moines, and it's getting ready to head into their metro. What's likely going to happen is, and James was agreeing with this too, is that complex is going to follow the exact same path of the complex we had this morning. So if you live Quad Cities points to the southwest, you're going to get hit again here as we get closer to the 11 and the 12 o'clock hour, the noon hour. So this path is consistent. That we know. But I want to kind of widen out this picture. And where I've placed an X is where we have disturbances in the flow aloft. And that's what's triggering storms in this kind of a pattern and why it's a pain in the you-know-what to forecast where they're going to go, when they're going to erupt. Because these little disturbances, they're not like giant areas of low pressure or a cold front where we can predict where it's going to be and when it's going to set off storms. These things have a mind of their own, and the model data does not capture them very well at all. So that's why we're really putting this big time frame and this big time window in there. So obviously the 1X we had this morning, it's in central Illinois. There's the next disturbance right now moving into Des Moines. But behind that, you've almost got 2 to 3 more disturbances. You see one in the Dakotas. There's one also on the border of Minnesota and the Dakotas coming in our direction. So it's the combination of all of these different things that really makes for a tricky forecast. But now that things are starting to kind of develop, we're getting a little bit more clarity. And so is the Storm Prediction Center, because you may have noticed that this is new. We didn't have that 3 out of 5 down there this morning. It was just a 2. So, when we look at this as meteorologists and folks that are studying weather, we see, okay, well, obviously they're confident enough that something's going to happen to the southwest of the Quad Cities that we require a 3. So that tells me, and James agrees with this, if your Quad Cities points to the southwest, you are in line for the strongest of the activity as we go into the afternoon, possibly another one as we go into the evening. Again, a lot of this is going to depend on how these disturbances kind of interact with each other, because each one impacts what happens to the one behind it. It'll cool the air mass down. It kind of like stabilizes things. That's what we were wondering was going to happen this morning. Was the one that came through this morning going to stabilize the air and kind of kill off the next disturbance? Well, obviously, as we can tell, it did not do that. No. That disturbance is coming together nicely across Des Moines. So Storm Prediction Center has gone ahead and put a 3 out of 5 if you're Washington, Mount Pleasant, all the way through Burlington and Macomb. Everyone else is still in the 2 out of 5. So let me show you, kind of the biggest concern, and that is still the wind. This has been upgraded, now a 3 out of 5 on the wind scale. And you see those little polka dots. That means we're going to see 70 mile per hour wind gusts, likely with storms that move through this afternoon and this evening. We already had, by the way, this morning in Ottumwa, while we were on there, a 74 mile per hour wind gust confirmed with those storms. And we didn't even have a ton of energy sitting around. Like all that energy I show you on the map, and I'm going to show you in a second, we didn't have a ton of that yet. That was just from what we call a low-level jet coming in and aiding in some updrafts and some other things. So wind is definitely another big concern today. Tornadoes, not so much. We don't have any type of a solid front. There'll be a pseudo-warm front that's going to try and work up in here, but I'm not too excited about it. You can see it's only a 1. So tornadoes are our lowest threat. Wind and hail is the bigger of the 2 threats, and you can see it on the scale there as we kind of go from 3 on the wind side to 2 on the hail side and then 1 on the tornado side. So a perfect stair, if you will, stepping ourselves down. Exactly. So again, it's this afternoon. I would say, given this line coming in right now, you could push the timing up to noon, especially if you live in southwest of the Quad Cities. But bottom line is, it's this afternoon and this evening when we're expecting all of this to come through. Here's the storm energy graphic I wanted to show you. Remember last time we looked at this with the last storm event? It was like 6,000. Yeah. Are we going to have 6,000 again today? Well, not likely. We're still going to have some extreme energy. I mean, this goes up to near 4,000 at times as we head into this evening. So there's a lot of this sitting around. And all it takes is one disturbance to take advantage of that, come in, gobble up all that energy, and start producing some thunderstorms. So there you see how it goes up to still even 4,000 later tonight. The reason it's so high tonight is you're going to have that low-level jet coming in, that fast wind just above the ground, and that could also lead to a flash flooding situation too, which I'm going to show you here. So I'll step you through future track. We're using what we call the rapid refresh model. This is really the only in-house model we have that has kind of captured decently what's happening. Some others are just not on board with anything at all. But you can see it takes that new activity near Des Moines and it moves it to areas southwest of the Quad Cities as we go through this later this afternoon into early evening. That kind of moves off. Not much else happening in the meantime between, say, like 8 and 10, but we get to midnight, and there are signs that that low-level jet I was talking about, that fast wind just above the ground, could really start cooking in yet another complex that greets us tomorrow morning. So that's what we're going to have to watch and see. Again, the timing of these things is going to change. I noticed someone commented on my post this morning. They're like, the timing you have right now for this post is way different than you had yesterday. And I explained, yes, it's going to be that way the rest of this week. We're going to be dealing with this same pattern where we literally have to forecast this hour by hour, and it's going to change. So that's why I want folks to have the app. That's why I want folks to keep watching the newscast, whether it's the one early in the morning, and then check in again with us at the 11, because I guarantee something's going to change there too. So it's a process where we're having to take this hour by hour at a time and kind of see how things lay out. But yeah, we're going to be in line for at least a few more clusters of storms. The potential today, though, is definitely there for those to become severe. And there you see storms are just going to continue right through the end of the week. Doesn't look like they'll stop until we get to Saturday, but it's still going to be hot as you know what outside as we get into the weekend. So, yeah, fun. But I wanted to explain what was going on because, again, everything changing literally within the span of a few hours, that's what we're going to be dealing with. So I really think it's going to be key to pay attention to the Storm Prediction Center and see where they keep that enhanced risk, because I think where they have it right now, not sure what that was, is actually in a good spot, based on what we're seeing with the radar that I showed you here, because you can see that line, that next cluster is going to go right where the one this morning went. So again, we'll watch the radar and we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting, no doubt. Parade of storm systems.
I was just going to say that.
Gosh, yeah, it is really, really hard to forecast. See what you have to look forward to?
It's so exciting to be here.
Break them in early, yes.
You guys keep me on my toes.
Yes.
I'm excited, right?
Now you get to deal with all of this coming up, so that's gonna be a fun time. Let's see if there's any questions we can answer. Do you got some YouTube questions?
I got one from Brett Massey.
Go ahead and shout them out.
He asked, any expansion for level 3 to move to the north in And also, could any watches be issued this afternoon?
I would not be surprised with that complex there moving into central Iowa. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if there's what we call a mesoscale discussion, and look at that, there is. So, yes, the Storm Prediction Center is already monitoring the same area that had a severe thunderstorm watch southwest of us this morning for another severe thunderstorm watch. They're giving it a 60% chance of a watch being needed, and that would likely be coming in the next hour or two. So, yeah, likely a watch, again, going to be coming for areas southwest of the Quad Cities. It's going to be a severe thunderstorm watch, no doubt, just based on what we've seen already. But great question. Really good question. Is that the only one on YouTube? A bit quiet?
RH in Des Moines is about to get hit by these storms we're tracking.
Oh, man.
Stay safe out there.
Yeah, so what's kind of, crummy about this situation right now is the Des Moines Doppler radar is down. We aren't getting anything from it. So you're having to use our radar, you're having to use La Crosse, Omaha, probably a bit of Minneapolis, St. Paul too, but you're scanning these storms at a really high elevation. So not really getting a good sampling of what's going on the ground, but still, treat these storms as if they're serious business because they will pack a punch. And you can see with that warning now for Des Moines how most of the warnings are kind of trending to the southeast. So that tells me right away that we're talking about a target area right in southeast Iowa. I'm going to switch my little mouse and keyboard over here. I like a wireless. So, I use a little dongle and we do it that way. But this is going to allow me to play with this for a second. So yeah, you'll see I'll switch over here. I don't get the real good resolution because that radar's down. It's still using Quad Cities. But if we kind of extrapolate where this is going, we'll stop the loop here. And we'll put our little ruler on here. So if this thing continues on its path, we're talking about the end of the 11 for just clipping the Quad Cities. Same areas as this morning. So you've got Louisa County, Henry County, and then you also have a little bit of Des Moines County in there too, and then eventually getting into Warren and Henderson. But you've also got this piece here that's going to dive right down in here into where the higher heat and humidity is and the more moisture. So again, I think it's just going to be a matter of us getting clipped with this, just like what we saw this morning. I think I can take this loop back actually, if it doesn't yell at me, and show you. So yeah, there's the morning storms. Those warnings right now are what are happening now. They're not from this morning. But there's our morning round that came in just after 5. And notice this secondary round is taking the same track. In fact, it's nearly identical. I mean, they're both just slightly north of Interstate 80, but the majority of the storm itself, the body of the storm, is south of Interstate 80. So that's why we're going to target these areas here. The overall movement of the strongest activity is going to be in these two zones here. And if you zoom into our, News 8 country here, I like to call it, our viewing audience area, you're talking south of a line from Muscatine, south of Oneida, right into Monmouth, really, south of Oneida and all that. So I can clear this out. I love to draw. And let's see if we can make it look, somewhat decent. But I would say, we'll put the drawing on here first and then we'll zoom in. It's kind of this zone right in here. If you're in this zone, this is where you're going to see those storms. And now it looks like a sock. So yeah, those same areas I just mentioned, Burlington, Monmouth, Roseville, Wapello, Mount Pleasant, that's where these storms are going to go. And that definitely appears to be the case right now. You look upstream, yeah, there's a couple of other things going on, but we're going to have to kind of be in wait and see mode for that and see how that energy starts to translate to the southeast. Again, you can see the X's there. They're going to go away as I zoom in. But yeah, there's another disturbance up here in Minnesota that's kind of heading in our direction, but it's got a little bit more of a northward jaunt to it. So in the near term, through the noon hour and a little bit into the early afternoon, it's that complex right there near Des Moines, heading into southeast Iowa. That's our concern. We got like 5 minutes for any more questions. And if anybody's on YouTube,
Paul.
Yeah, go for it.
Paul was wondering, Sterling, are they going to miss out on these storm complexes?
Yes, I think it goes right to the south of Sterling Rock Falls. At least this one does. Again, we have to wait and see, do we get that other disturbance that I showed you a moment ago with the X's here? You see there's another one there in the Dakotas. Does that one tend to track a little bit further to the north and spark a new complex with this activity here in southwest Minnesota? That's what we have to wait and see. possibility.
It's a waiting game.
It is a waiting game, literally. I'm going to try and check Facebook. Facebook is so finicky.
So yeah, it was not cooperating with me a little bit ago
Yes. It just does not like this at all. We know you're there, though. We know the folks on Facebook are watching. It's just that, Facebook constantly changes their app, so it's harder and harder to find the actual live stream. Oh, there's one of them. Linnell, I don't think you're going to see anything in Elizabeth from this today. I think you're too far north. Catherine, I think, it's going to be south of Moline. Willow says, used to love storms, now as a homeowner, terrified of them. I totally agree. It is not fun being a homeowner and you get damage at all. And good morning to Shelley. Now the $1 million question, can I find the main page stream? I found my stream. Can I find the WQAD stream? Maybe. Up there it is. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I need to buy a lottery ticket.
Were your good luck charms?
Matthew, I have no idea what I'm assuming that's a reference to something that I can't say on the air. Ashley is wondering, anything for Abingdon? Yeah, Abingdon would get clipped by this next wave here. Again, new severe thunderstorm watch is going to be forthcoming. I bet we get it before the top of the 10 o'clock hour. Dave is asking, anything for Peru? You're going to be right on the edge, right on the border. Bonnie's wondering about time for Viola. We're thinking just after the noon hour when you're that far south. It's going to be very, very close. Same thing for Little Gore. It's very close. You're right on the edge, but it would be right about noon. And again, Catherine, from Moline, we think it's going to go just south of the immediate Quad Cities based on what we're seeing on radar right there. So with that, we've got all the questions done. Yes. You guys are awesome. So again, we're gonna have Peter talk more once we get you settled in and we're going to get your story out there. I just wanted to give you a teaser so you could see that, yes, we did indeed get another person on the team. New weekend weather anchor coming our way. Yes, just days away. He's been doing a fantastic job. Allison, of course, doing a fantastic job. Both of you, I just want to keep both of you for the rest of the time that I'm here. You both can never leave. You're not allowed to leave. Same goes with Morgan. Yeah, you're stuck here. I have an extra spare bedroom if you need one. So we will let you guys go. If anything changes, of course, you can always catch us at the 11 o'clock coming up from 11 to noon. And then the rest of us will be back in here this afternoon, and we'll see what happens. Morgan's going to be in the beast again, I hear. So
We'll
she's
get
had
you covered.
2 tornadoes so far.
She's been busy this year.
2 tornadoes. Can she do 3 for 3?
Maybe. I mean,
Yeah. If she does, I'm going to have Morgan go buy me a lottery ticket.
yes.
Oh my gosh, like
She's got some of that Twister's magic.
crazy. Yeah. But yeah, Morgan will be in the beast. James will be here. Of course, you guys will be here. I'll probably be back as well if needed. And we'll let you know what happens as I plug my little mouse thing back in there.
Keep your app handy.
Yes, get the StormTrack8 app. Good reminder. I guess the easiest thing. You get the lightning alerts, you get the rain alerts, you get the severe weather alerts, the interactive radar. The one thing, I've noticed a lot of folks have said this about the interactive radar. I don't know if my phone's going to show this, so give me a second. But when you're using the interactive radar, make sure your button doesn't say just future.
Yes.
I've had so many folks message me like, your radar doesn't show anything and it's pouring right now.
Defaulting to future.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to let me do this or not. It might. If I can take that setting off. It's got a whole bunch of settings, so you want to make sure you have the right one on there. There it is. That's what I wanted to see. So maybe the camera can focus. Let's see if I can bring it up here, okay? So here's your StormTrack8 app. It is this button right here. There's a dot, dot, dot. Do you see it? There we go.
Perfect.
This one right here. Make sure it doesn't say just future. If it says just future, you don't want that. You want it to say past or past and future. Because if you just have future, you're only getting the future track model. You're not getting what's happening right now that's being picked up by the radar. So make sure you have this on either past or past and future for a setting. That's why the rain's not showing up on your radar. And you know what? It took me, honestly, about 20 minutes to figure out that's what the problem was. Because I was like, what do you mean the rain's not? It's on mine. And then I was messing with all these buttons here that you can customize, and it's like, oh, that's why. So check that out on your app if you've got it, and make sure it's on past or past and future. Good setting. All right, guys, we got to go to a morning editorial meeting so we can let the news